many of you. I'm so pleased to see so many Trade Union Council banners. Next year we want more. The next speaker we have for you is somebody who's at the forefront of fighting the NHS cuts. As many of you I'm sure will be affected by this, we have a lot of hospitals in London where the A&Es are under attack, which effectively means the end of the hospital. No A&E, no hospital. Some of us rely on these places to keep us alive, and unfortunately I am one of those, but there you go. So I'm really delighted to ask Jackie Davis from Keep the NHS Public to speak to you now and explain some of the problems to you.
Thanks for inviting me here today, and I bring you greetings from health campaigners across the country. I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired with this government, because we're all under assault from them. And the NHS is under assault from them with hospital closures and job cuts. In London, they want to move care into the community without having any resources there. They want to close 9 A&E departments, close maternity units, close thousands of hospital beds. They cut the money, they cut the staff. Then they tell us we're failing. Then they tell us that privatisation is the answer. They're doing what's good for business and not what's best for patients. And it's ideology gone mad. By attacking everyone at once, Cameron and his government want us to believe we have no power. But look around you, we have got power. The NHS isn't Cameron's to give away. It belongs to us, the taxpayers who pay for it, the patients who use it, and the workers who run it. Mr. Cameron, we don't like what you're doing. People are angry and frustrated. We didn't vote for it, and we don't want it. We must believe we've got the power to reverse this assault on the NHS. We must believe we can win this fight, and we must fight, because if we don't, we're going to lose our hospitals, and we're going to lose the NHS. It is as simple as that. So let the message go out today to David Cameron. We are your big society, David Cameron, and we're going to fight. We have no patience with fatalism. Our campaign is not over. It won't be over until we give up, and we're not going to give up. You can hold our heads underwater until the bubbles stop rising. We're not going to give up. I'm going to end with 2 quotes and an invitation. The invitation is to everybody who's in London to march for London's NHS on May the 18th. Let's make that a big demonstration. Thank you. I'm going to end with my 2 favourite quotes. One of them's from Gandhi. When the government turns against the people, rebellion is a responsibility. My second is a paraphrase of what Blackadder said to Baldrick. There's just one tiny flaw in your plan for the NHS, Mr. Cameron. It's complete bollocks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jackie, and certainly agree with that last sentiment, but I can't say it because I'm far too polite and I can't say it from here. Our next speaker is Chris Boyle from PCS. I'm reliably told that he has over 30 years trade union experience, but even better than that, he has experience at Blackpool and Fylde Trade Union Council, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Chris to speak to you now.
Brothers and sisters, it's a great privilege to be given the opportunity to speak today, to bring solidarity from PCS. I want to first of all thank the Trades Council for the invite to speak, and I particularly want to pay tribute to the Turkish and Kurdish community who've kept the May Day tradition alive in Britain over the last 20 odd years. But I'm not just here to celebrate an idea of international solidarity. We have to recognise that international solidarity is our most powerful weapon against the political and economic elites who are seeking to exploit a financial crash, an economic crisis, to complete the job of Thatcher and Blair. An incompetent yet ruthless government that seeks to boost the wealth of the super rich in our society while targeting the living standards, the livelihoods and the hope of some of the poorest and most vulnerable in our community. The PCS campaign on tax justice, working with other unions and the TUC, has highlighted the fact that around £125 billion a year is lost to the public purse as a result of tax avoidance and tax evasion by the super rich. Our members in Revenue and Customs see jobs being cut, offices closed, senior managers doing secret deals with major corporations to let them off the hook for paying the tax that they owe. We see government advisors on tax moving back into consultancies to advise companies on how to adopt loopholes. We see billions siphoned off all the time across the planet into tax havens in the UK and internationally. We see record profits of the FTSE 100 companies, of the supermarkets and the energy cartels, whilst at the same time we see an increase in fuel poverty. We live in the 7th richest economy on the planet, and yet we find that in the course of the last 4 years alone, the richest 1,000 people in Britain have seen their wealth actually increase to the tune of £180 billion. That's enough to pay the UK budget deficit off in one go, and they still pocket 40 to 50 billion. And at the same time, we saw in those shameful few days in April a ruthless attack on some of the poorest in our community. The bedroom tax, the attack on disability benefits, the housing benefit cap, the cuts in legal aid, the attempts to hound people off benefits. This reality, while the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, shows Osborne's claim that we're all in this together as one of the most fraudulent claims ever made by a political leader in British history. This is a government that, unless they're stopped, are intent on making working class and our families pay a terrible price for this crisis. The 260,000 members in PCS are challenging the attack on our members' living standards. The job cuts, 60,000 jobs have been cut, with 80% are still to come. In the name of civil service reform, they are looking to attack all our members' terms and conditions, pushing ahead with a failed privatisation model, refusing to negotiate with the elected union and targeting PCS and its reps and seeking to undermine our union rights and our ability to defend our members in their hour of need. And it's why we're taking national and group-based action across the UK. National stoppages and walkouts. It's why our members are out on strike and are walking out in the Department for Education at 3 o'clock this afternoon. These are national attacks on PCS, and they require a national response. Our campaign will continue until we force this government to listen. But the major lesson that we've learnt in PCS, and the major lesson since that massive strike on the 30th of November, is we need to link up all the battles and all the actions taking place against austerity. We need to coordinate action across the entire public sector. There is no respite in local government, in Royal Mail, in the schools, in the civil service, in the NHS and the criminal justice sector. Through the TUC and talking directly, this isn't just a fight about uniting public sector unions. We've got to build on the marvellous success of workers in construction, on the Unite members on the buses, the unofficial walkouts we've seen in power stations across the UK. What we need is a day of action, and yes, a one-day general strike as part of a coordinated campaign of industrial action that would have a massive impact to harness the deep grievance that exists amongst workers against this government, to show the deep-seated opposition, to show that unions are relevant, not by adverts on the telly promoting friendly societies, but showing that unions are prepared to speak and act in defence of their members' interests, to defend our blacklisted reps, to show that unions are the first and the last line of defence for every worker in Britain today, to reach out to the millions of unorganised workers, in particular young workers that are looking to the trade union movement to provide a lead. We've got to lead as a trade union movement from the front. We've got to build and links with all the anti-cuts and community campaigns that are sprouting up across Britain as we speak. And as Len McCluskey said, we've got to replicate the mass movement that defeated Thatcher and defeated the hated poll tax. But most of all, we've got to provide the missing ingredient. We've got to provide the confidence that this government can be defeated, that solidarity can win, that there is an alternative, and we can show in practice that another world really is possible. Thanks for listening.